Hello, everybody. This is Murray back with you, and we're doing the Lavaca County News Reviews for October the 12th. And I'm joined by my co-host, Hans Lemmer.
Howdy, everybody.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about, Hans. We've got quite a few stories, and I think you were talking about one about the Shiner girls and how successful they've been lately.
Oh, yes. I'd definitely like to start today's podcast off with a huge congratulations to the Lady Comanches for their District 28 2A win, or rather District 28 2A championship in cross country. They had a meet at Shiner's Green-Dixon Park over the week. I guess that was on Monday. So congratulations to them. That's a huge deal, and hopefully they get some good naps in after all that running.
Yeah, that's true, because, sometimes the cross-country kids don't get enough attention. And so we're really happy about these girls winning this meet.
And the local cross-country praise continues because in Yoakum, they had a race on Tuesday afternoon at the Yoakum Municipal Golf Course, and the junior high cross-country runners earned their place as the district champions. So congratulations to them, and I think that means we're going to have some great cross-country runners in just a few years in Yoakum High School.
Yeah, they're definitely coming up and being trained well, no doubt about that.
If we're moving past the cross-country, congratulations there. On the front page of the Yoakum Herald-Times for the October 12th issue, we have a nice article from you raising some awareness for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, we did this breast cancer thing. Of course, this is the month for it. But I thought about maybe putting more in there about the questions that people might have that have been diagnosed with this disease. And so what I did, I took the CDC's list of the most often asked questions with their answers. So hopefully that'll help out some folks that are struggling with this thing.
Yeah, it's great that you have some information for everybody, and I learned a lot more than I expected to while reading this article. So hopefully this gives some people the opportunity to have their questions answered and learn a little bit more.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. It's cancer has touched so many families. It's touched my family, as a matter of fact, and we were fortunate that we got a cure right away, and it wasn't breast cancer, but what I'm saying is cancer overall just touches so many people, and so as much information as we can get out on it, and if that'll help people, well, that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. And so I'm sure you'll be seeing people around all month, different events, wearing pink and raising awareness. So join them, take out your pink shirts, and I guess share information where you can and encourage people to get tested in mammograms and learn as much as they can about breast cancer.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in that article, the National Breast Cancer Foundation, they're asking for you to share any information from them or anywhere on your social media, because that's a big thing, and that'll really spread it by doing those shares.
You mentioned the RISE program in there, the Rally and Screening Everybody. So that is just their, I guess, their initiative to get as many people to be screened as possible, right?
Yeah, and there's so many people too that don't have are not financially able to go have these screenings done. But there are people out there that will definitely help you if you just reach out.
Well, thank you for sharing that article and helping spread awareness for this even more.
You bet. And I was thinking about too, last week we talked about National Night Out, and you went to Hallettsville, and I think Bobby went to Shiner. And do you have some more information that you want to share on that, or?
Oh yeah, I have a bit more. So like you mentioned, I was in Hallettsville last week, and this week, Yoakum had theirs last night on Tuesday. So there was a great event. There was a huge turnout, and the police were there, fire department, of course, and several other first responders, and the community definitely showed out for that. We have pictures and the stories on each of our papers, except for Yoakum. You have to wait until next week or visit our Facebook and look for images there. But this was a huge success as far as Lavaca County's National Night Outs in each city. And you may see your face or some neighbors' faces if you look in the papers this week for that.
I guess we're ready to move over to sports.
Oh yes. So what do I have to know about sports this week? Any important updates or any good games?
Well, we had some winners and unfortunately, we had some losers. But the Comanches, the Shiner Comanches, they're rolling right along. They beat Three Rivers 67-7, and the Lady Cardinals concluded a busy week with a win over Kerrville in volleyball. So that sort of goes along with the district champions of the girls cross country that's in the Shiner Sports. And then moving on over to Yoakum, we're going to take a look at the Yoakum Bulldogs. Unfortunately, they lost another one, but they lost to a highly ranked team. They lost to the Hitchcock Bulldogs. When you run into teams like that, you just have to do your best, and that's definitely what these boys are doing. And there's a good write-up about that by Alvin Gomez in the Herald Times sports page. So all these things are on the sports pages, and all you have to do is just look them up, as Hans said.
And before we move past the Yoakum Sports, and this is a sneak peek for next week's paper, I did see that last night the Hallettsville Lady Brahmas and the Lady Bulldogs in Yoakum played in a volleyball match, and I believe the Yoakum Bulldogs took that match in 4 sets. Mark Luby had some coverage of that on Facebook, so congratulations to the Lady Bulldogs.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't see it. Over in Hallettsville, number 3 ranked Columbus beat our Brahmas 35-13. Now they have moved up. Columbus, they're ranked second in 3A Division One, and they've got a test coming this weekend or Friday probably. Well, they're going to play Hitchcock, who beat Yoakum, and Hitchcock is highly rated also. So that ought to be quite a game right there. And getting back to Hallettsville, the Indians lost 20. They lost 41-38, and they had a 17-point lead going into the last half. And
Who is Sacred Heart playing there?
the Indians from Magnolia Legacy Prep. So
Oh,
going to
okay.
Magnolia,
It's about all the Indians there.
yeah. But unfortunately, our Indians came up short.
You know,
And
it's neat. This week we had the Bulldogs playing the Bulldogs and Yoakum and the Indians playing the Indians there.
there
So
you go.
yeah, I know that's no fun for the sports writers.
No, no, they have to try to separate them somehow. And I'm talking about our lead sports writer, Chuck Groff. He's got the Lady Brahmas cross country came in second in district. And then he's got the Indianettes fall to district leading Valverde Bracken in volleyball. So a bad night for some of the sports here in Hallettsville. But like we said before, all of these are on your sports pages, so you'll have no trouble finding this and much more.
Well, I can continue the sports coverage with something a little bit different. On the front page of the Yoakum Herald Times, I wrote a story about Mr. E.L. Moore. He is a long-time and well-known Yoakum resident who has been a baseball and softball fanatic for many decades. In fact, he is a umpire there, and if you've played softball or baseball in the Lavaca County area, then you have likely played with Mr. Moore as your umpire. I have a story about him winning a championship in the 70 plus division. He went up to Illinois and he played with the Texas Stars, so it's a not only a national competition, but I believe it's all of North America. And they took home the win for Texas. So congratulations to Mr. Moore. And he is not quite hanging up the cleats yet. He's still playing. So if there's any Major League Baseball teams looking for a designated hitter,
Yeah.
I can give you the contact information.
How old did you say he was? 70?
Well, he's 68, but he's able to play in that 70-year-old division because he's just within 2 years. But I can only imagine. That sounds like he was telling me about how the game went, and he said that they still have some pretty good pitching for that fast pitch softball. So
Well, at my age, he's nothing but a spring chicken, so he's got a lot of life left in him, that's for sure. Didn't you write a story about him and his umpiring earlier or
you know,
something?
Mark Luby had a story about him and his
Oh,
umpiring because he was an umpire in the state softball championship, or the tournament rather, this year that the Hallettsville Lady Brahmas ended up winning. So he keeps on showing up in the paper, and I guess he'll continue doing that for as long as he's so heavily involved.
Yeah, yeah, you can't beat that, and we certainly appreciate his efforts in ball and in umpiring, and quite an asset to the community of Yoakum.
Yep, that was definitely a fun one to do. And now looking over to some more somber news. On the front page of the Hallettsville paper, we have a picture and a write-up on the fire last Saturday afternoon in the 1600 block of FM 318. And I believe that fire was just outside of the city limits. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, and they say here that thanks to the fast-acting volunteers who wasted no time getting there, and they did a lot to save some of the surrounding buildings from the fire.
Good.
So
Well, I think nobody was hurt, and I hope that's the case. And thank you again to the firemen that got out there and tended to it so quickly.
you bet we couldn't do without them. That's a fact.
And our last story of the day, at least to cover on this podcast, has, a nice segue, I guess, from the fire, as we're talking about the drought yet again. I know that this was a big story for us to begin the year. We got a little bit of rain there in the last few months, but it's back in the headlines, and we're discussing the drought again. In fact, Bobby Horechko, our managing editor, has a story about the conditions getting worse. And I was at the DeWitt County Commissioners Court meeting earlier this week, and they said they're strongly considering a burn ban and hinted that it was coming soon.
Yeah, if it keeps up like it is without any rain, we're going to have to go into a burn ban. That's for sure. And I've just got a quote here from Bobby Horiska's story, and he's quoting Egan Barthels, the Lavaca County Emergency Management Coordinator. And he says every bit of the county, 100% of Lavaca County, is listed as being in moderate drought conditions, which causes everything from crops being stunted and partial livestock liquidation to an increase in wildfire frequency. So it's a serious matter, and especially for folks that are in the ranching business and farming business, it's a bad situation. We can only hope and pray for rain in the near future.
Yeah, and you were telling me the other day when we were chatting about the drought that if a freeze comes before there's enough rain to help get some water in these crops, or in the grass rather, then that could lead to a lot of fuel for fires, right?
Oh yeah, and it just if you get a situation like that and then you get a freeze, well, all that grass is dead, and it just adds more fuel to the fire, so to speak. But anything like, of course, you don't want to be tossing cigarettes out your window and stuff like that. And I read the other day where they were telling people to be careful when they were driving over that grass because just a spark or heat from a muffler can start a fire. So it's a bad situation all the way around.
Well, be careful and make sure to let your fire dispatch know if you plan on burning or finishing up your burn pit this week at all or coming up, because there are dry conditions. And make sure to start doing your rain dances, and hopefully we can have some luck and get some rain clouds.
You betcha. That's something we need really bad. I don't know that we have too much else. Do you have anything, Hans?
Well, of course, there's plenty of news for you guys that did not have your thirst for local news quenched there. We recommend you pick up all 4 of our local newspapers. But other than that, I think that's all we got this week.
Yeah, I believe you're right. And folks, before we go, I'd like to thank everybody that's been listening to these podcasts. And now we're getting more and more folks that are starting to share them. And that drives our numbers up, and more people get to listen, and we certainly appreciate it. But that's all from me, so I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next week.